guys, and welcome to another Disney reading. Today we have Disney's A Bug's Life. I also have The Smelly Assistant.
I'm not smelly and my name is
And Rufus is around, so if you hear any meows or anything, that's just the Roofmeister. Right, anyway, let's have a look. So, A Bug's Life. There we go. Right. It was right in the middle of the harvest that an ant named Flick had an idea. Flick was always inventing things. The idea wasn't so bad, an automatic harvester. But Princess Atta wouldn't listen to Flick. She was too busy figuring out if there would be enough grain for Hopper and his greedy grasshopper gang. Every year the grasshoppers came to demand food from the ants. This year, for the first time, Atta was in charge of the harvest. Suddenly they could hear the grasshoppers coming. Atta was flustered. The Queen took over. "Quickly, everyone, into the ant hill." "You too, Dot," she said to her younger daughter. The ants left the grasshoppers' grain piled up on an offering stone. Flick ran for cover too. But as he was taking off his wonderful harvesting machine, he knocked the offering stone over. All the grain slid down into the dry, cracked riverbed. Hopper would be furious. Hopper was furious. Flick tried to stand up to him, but couldn't. Hopper grabbed Dot and threatened the terrified ants. "When I come back, I want to see twice the regular amount of grain, or else," he snarled. Flick knew that if the ants obeyed Hopper, they wouldn't have enough food for themselves. So he got another idea. "I could get some bigger bugs to fight the grasshoppers," he suggested. Princess Atta and the Queen didn't like the idea, but they were glad to see Flick away. Only Dot had faith in him. "Bring back some real tough bugs," she called as he floated away on his quest. Far away from Ant Island, an audience of rowdy flies was booing yet another circus performance. P.T. Flea, the circus owner, had enough. "You're all fired," he yelled at his performers. Soon Flick arrived in the city. He had never seen anything like it. This was the place to find tough bugs. Flick found out the out-of-work circus bugs in a run-down tavern. He thought they were warriors. They thought he was looking for circus bugs. Oops. The circus bugs thought Flick was offering them a contract to perform for the ants, so away they flew to an ant island, dreaming of applause and full employment. When they got to Ant Island, the circus bugs found out what the ants expected. "Flick," Rosie the spider told him, "we're not fighters, we're circus stars." The circus bugs quietly slipped away. Flick ran after them, begging them to stay. Manny and the praying mantis spoke for them all. "You tricked us," he told Flick. "You talked about our talents. We thought you were hiring us for a show." Flick was about to plead some more when he saw something that terrified him. It was a bird who ate bugs. "Run!" he yelled. As they ran, Flick and the circus bugs saw Dot floating toward them. The bird had seen Dot too. Swiftly, Francis flew up and grabbed the princess, while Slim hied Heimlich up to distract the bird. Flick and the others helped Dot and Francis escape. Then they all flew into a prickly bush. The bird flew away. Flick, Dot, and the bugs climbed down from the bush to find the whole ant colony cheering them. What a wonderful sound! The circus bug had never heard applause before. Right there and then, they decided to help the ants, if Flick could come up with a plan. Flick had a plan, but he knew that the ants wouldn't listen to him. The plan had to come from the circus warriors. Manny was elected to explain the plan to Princess Atta. He told her they would chase the grasshoppers away with a fake bird. The ants stopped collecting grain and helped the bugs build the bird. They liked the idea of little ants defeating big grasshoppers. They also still thought the warriors were heroes. Once the bird was finished, it was raised up into a knothole in the tree. When the time came, Flick would fly it out and give Hopper the scare of his nasty life. Far away from Ant Island, some of the Hopper's gangsters were muttering to one another. Why should they go back to Ant Island? They already had plenty of food. Hopper didn't agree. There was that ant who stood up to me, he reminded the gang. If we let one ant stand up to us, they might all stand up, and there goes our way of life. Hopper looked around. Not one grasshopper in his gang dared to disagree with him. Then let's ride, he ordered them. With a loud buzz, the gang took off for Ant Island. Meanwhile, Flick was telling the circus bugs that their work was finished. Now that the bird was ready, they wouldn't have to stay and fight. The circus bug, however, didn't want to leave. They liked being heroes. Then P.T. Flea showed up. I'm looking for some circus performers, he told the ants. Flick tried to hide the truth, but the ants discovered that their warrior bugs were only circus bugs. The Queen ordered the circus bugs to leave and to take Flick with them. Dot wanted to go to her friends, but her mother held her back. The ants knew they couldn't fight the grasshoppers alone. Frantically, they started collecting grain again, but there wasn't enough time. The alarm sounded. The grasshoppers had arrived. Mother, Atta cried, what would we do? The Queen had no answer. Hopper had no mercy. He and his gangsters turned the ants into slaves. They were even planning to squish the Queen. When Dot overheard this, she knew she had to do something. So she sneaked away to find Flick. Once Dot convinced Flick to come back, he was ready to fight. She knew his bird idea would work. The circus bugs wanted to help too, but they knew P.T. would object, so they shut him up in the wagons. Then the whole group hurried back to Ant Island. While the circus bugs were distracting Hopper and his gang with a circus performance, Flick and Dot rallied the ant children. Together, they sneaked up to the bird to get the bird ready. When Gypsy, the moth, gave the signal, Flick's fake bird zoomed down from the tree, straight at the awful grasshoppers. Hopper and his gang ran. Then P.T. Flea, who had never understood Flick's plan, escaped. Thinking that the bird was a danger to them all, he set it on fire. Hopper realized that he'd been tricked. He quickly got his gang back together. Once more, the terrible grasshoppers threatened the poor ants. This time, the Hopper's target was Atta. Flick couldn't stand it. Leave her alone, he cried. Flick's action gave the other ants the courage they needed. Together with the circus bugs, they attacked Hopper. Hopper knew he couldn't survive if he fought against so many ants, but at least he could get Flick. Suddenly it started to rain, and everyone ran for cover. Atta took advantage of the confusion to grab Flick away from Hopper, but Hopper wouldn't give it up. He chased Flick and Atta across the river. Flick got another idea. He remembered where the real bird had his nest. He told Atta where to fly. When Hopper saw the bird, he laughed. Another one of your little bird tricks, he jeered. But it wasn't. Bye-bye, Hopper. The grasshoppers never returned, and the ants never had to worry about the food again. The following spring, P.T. Flea's circus set out on a victory tour. A few of the ants even joined them, wanting to see the world as Flick had done. They left Flick with Atta and the rest of the colony. He would be happy, inventing things to make a life and life easier. He'd had enough of adventure, and home was where he wanted to stay. The end. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that Disney story. Our smelly Max assistant is going to say goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
So guys, if you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe. I think there's also that bell icon to make you aware of when there's a story, because I don't do these every single week. So if you'd like to know when one is coming, just click that as well. And I'll be back soon with a new story. Bye-bye.